It's been a long time, so and running it's been most of my life really now. Strangely, sort of never known all my life.
In this episode of Cassette Culture, we present our conversation with Gysin Mitchell, founder of Cold Spring Records, the label whose trajectory illuminates the development of industrial and dark electronic music from the 1980s cassette era right up to the present day. It's easy to get lost in the vast catalogue of fascinating releases, from psychic TV, Coil, to Icelandic horror movie soundtracks and dark British folk song. Gysin spoke to us about the universe of weird music that he assembles for the label. But before we hear that, we need to go and check our mailbox. This is Cassette Culture.
Alright, so we're here for an unboxing again.
Yep, I just got a package that's arrived this week. And
who's this from?
It's from Sandy Nice from the Hybryds in Belgium. And I know what's taken your eye.
Oh, I'm loving this. I'm loving this rabbit here, and it looks like he's got some army boots on, and what's he holding? Do you know?
Well, I've got a clue because Sandy's got a project currently called Rabbits Wear Boots, and it's like a sort of cyber techno
nice
kind of project. So he's holding a drum machine. I happen to know, but this is
okay. So this is his label.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
rubber stamp version of the logo. So
yeah, well, I'm going to be asking him for a shirt. He has to have shirts with that.
Yeah, it's definitely, I can tell you, I've gone straight out and found where can I get custom rubber stamps done here. So cool. I'm getting one. So let's get into it. I've no idea what Sandy's put in this envelope. Here we go. Oh, there's more in here than I thought, actually. Okay. There's a lot more in here than I thought.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. Thank you, Sandy, for whatever is in here. It's Sandy's long-running music project, and it's a little book of photos, some slightly
raunchy,
erotic artwork here. So I better just flip through these.
Flip through quickly.
And this is so Sandy. I'm now afraid of whatever is it containing something of an adult nature. This is beautiful.
Wow.
These are iconic images from some of Sandy's projects, this kind of ritual art type of imagery, and it's like a really nice two-colour...
Yeah, it's like a spot print, and it's also got here, if you can you see it there? Yeah, it's got the embossment, which makes it really cool.
He's got all the toys, hasn't he? He's got the rubber stamps and the embossing.
Yeah, that's true.
The embossing machine. Let's see what else. Oh, it's another similar kind of thing. These are gorgeous.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be some sort of deluxe CD package.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, baby. There he is.
There he is.
Hang on. Yes. Oh, look at this. Okay. Rabbits wear boots. What is it? Transhuman dystopia.
Yeah, okay. Looks like
it.
looks like a Bandcamp release. Okay, we've got a few CDRs coming up here. As you're kind of getting excited by that, there's the Rabbits Wear Boots.
Yes. Oh, look at this old school kind of imagery like that.
Oh, these are nice. And this is the release that we just saw the page for Transhuman Dystopia in a nice little kind of what is that? It's like a Velcro seal. And inside we've got the booklet and something small. Ooh,
what is that?
Ooh.
What is that?
It's
Fridge magnet.
I don't know what it is. Is it a USB
SIM card?
Some sort of some sort of
open it up.
cyberpunk media here. Is that a USB device? Do you reckon?
All right. Well, we're going to have to find out. This is cool, though.
Yeah,
it does look like...
We love it, but we are cassette people. We don't understand this sort of like
so this is some futuristic thing going on here, Sandy, but it definitely looks like you could wear it on a lanyard, so maybe we're invited to the warehouse and you need that to get in. I like that idea.
Definitely.
I hope that's true.
Yeah. Now, this is, I happen to know, this is a new release from Hybryds in the wake of The Witch. Some sort of special package there with a CD.
Oh, double.
2 CDs.
Oh, yeah, 1 and 2. I like this, this. Oh, look at this.
Embossing is awesome, isn't it? You just...
Great.
It adds,
just elevates it.
It does. It adds such a touch of class to something. Just being able to have that bit of...
This makes it feel like it's a little bit more... I don't know. It's not that it's important, but it's a little bit more loved. Or the artist went the extra mile.
It is definitely showing that sort of thing that people have talked about, the kind of handmade quality of stuff, and you feel like...
No AI in that, people.
Yeah.
Vom Schatten eines Hauchs geboren. Wir wandeln in Verlassenheit und sind im Ewigen verloren. Gleich Opfern, unwissend, wozu sie geweiht. Gleich Bettlern ist uns nichts zu eigen. Uns Toren am verschlossenen Tor. Wie Blinde lauschen wir ins Schweigen, in dem sich unser Flüstern verlor.
In 1981, original art house industrial band Throbbing Gristle split, leaving members divided into 2 camps. Chris and Cozy began releasing music as a duo, leaving Genesis P.Orridge and, for a period, Peter Christopherson working together as Psychic TV. As a performing entity, Psychic TV announced themselves as not a musical band, but in the words of Genesis, a video group who does music. Alongside the group, they formed the Temple of Psychic Youth, conceived as a contemporary magical order and cult-like fan club for the group. They utilised the now booming underground network to freely distribute information through a series of regional stations and local hubs known as access points. This brought together a number of emerging threads, but it all started from the activity of the underground cassette network.
It was word of mouth, it was mail art, tape trading. There was a universe out there of music that not only did the shops not stock, but that was impossible to find in record fairs or anything like that. But tape trading was just the best way to find new music all the time.
Yeah.
And then by collecting, I used to have a file effect, and I used to stick each of the little card or personal notes into it in alphabetical order until it was a big fat book of everybody in the UK, at least, that was tape trading. So, I've still got it somewhere. I wrote to a few big magazines. They were called Spiral Scratch and Lion Lizard, which were W.H. Smith's newsstand magazines. And they let me write a column every month. And they paid me £20. £20 a month. So they gave me a page in the magazine every month to just write about what had come in that month. And they thought it was bizarre, the editors, because they thought, who are these people? What is this network? It became quite daunting to over the door of the postman every day. When it got to peak, probably I'd get maybe 30, 40 tapes a week. That's 30, 40 hours at least of listening. So it started getting a bit much. And then when the net came in, it just exploded again. because I was a member of the Temple Socket Youth from about 86 to about 91. And the mail network was really, really used by Temple to get their message across. And every access point, of which I ran one, would include flyers from bands and everything, because it was all information that was on the same side of music and art and culture. So we distributed as many flyers as we could, and flyers would come in, packs of flyers from other labels. Other labels found out that we'd distribute flyers, so packs of flyers with cassettes would turn up, they'd go out, and then they started coming from abroad, and they started coming from Italy, France, Australia, Japan, a lot from America, everywhere. I was very much into a sort of double thing of kind of anarcho-punk, but kind of avant-garde pop. I was into those two things. And Psychic TV seemed to come together with that. So I was fascinated with that. And also the branding and the Throbbing Gristle branding and the Psychic Cross. It seemed to command a following no matter wherever Psychic TV played. It was always packed out and busy. And so the first cassette release really was a benefit for the Temple of Psychic Youth. That's why the Psychic TV on it, because Genesis gave me a track. And I did the normal thing, put out the flyers and things like that into this network. And suddenly the 50 I'd made had gone in a couple of days. So then I was hand copying them then on a double tape thing. So I thought, I better make this professional now. I made, I think it was about 120, maybe 100 professional tapes. And they went in less than a month.
Right.
So I could either do that again, repress it again, because obviously money was tight, or put something else out. So the next one was Angels of Light, Angry Love Orchestra.
The thing that really strikes me is that within a few releases of the label, you're doing Brion Gysin and William Burroughs.
That was a Temple thing as well. Somebody gave it to me and said it was copyright free. So it wasn't because it was spoken word and there was no published music on it. That's quite a long tape. I think it was a C90 actually. I think it was quite a long. It took forever to copy.
Okay.
So I don't think I did many than 50. Maybe something like that.
Really?
Used for 50 years. Used for 50 years in painting 2 words.
This Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Jolt on from the Vault. JJ. From Valet. Jolt. JJ on Jolt.
So back to Bill Burroughs. Bill he was a very tall, elegant gentleman. He wore a long, grey, rather faded coat with a black velvet collar and a hat.
In 1959, Brion Gysin said that a lecture's attractions more fun than future vice, and applied the montage technique which had been used for 50 years in painting 2 words on a page. Might be just what I'm look is permitted. Out phrases from newspapers and magazines. Then took a scissors and cut these special birds burn, diminish the Great Awakening. Brion got this is Brion's idea. It's a painter's idea, essentially. He said writing is 50 years behind painting, and he simply applied the montage method, which is a very old hat in painting at that time, to writing. And as I point out, the montage method is much closer to the actual facts of perception than representation.
The next step for me then was to do vinyl, which I did in 1990.
That's a good jump in terms of like complexity of production and, you know, how you can, a product you can sell, I guess, from cassettes.
Yeah, it was this insane guy who used to work in a garage. Literally, in his office was a car, and if you gave him £800 and you came back 3 months later, he'd give you 300 LPs. It was a risk, but I went back 3 months later and he gave me 300 LPs. So it worked, and that sold straight away. Because of the Temple Socket Youth Network was familiar with the Cold Spring name, and all the tape traders were familiar with the name. Then when I put out the vinyl, it wasn't a great jump. The audience was already there.
Okay.
On that first vinyl, there was Hafler Trio and Grey Wolves, and me and Dave Kirby did a track on there as well.
And now, you hear this voice right in your ears, going straight to your brains. And I promise you, right now and in the near future, incredible results if you follow my instructions carefully. You sit in a chair, quietly listening. You take in your left hand, make sure it's your left, one piece of paper, A4, or the piece of paper with the text that came with this flexi disc. You have it in your hand right now. Now close your eyes. Very slow.
Justin connects the dots to find the right artist for the Cold Spring label. He's grown the label beyond the initial releases of Psychic TV and related material, while maintaining his roots in post-throbbing gristle industrial music. Having recently been accepted as a BBC and Universal Music licensee, he can now scour their archives for unreleased gems. We talked about some of the current and key releases on the label and what might be coming up next. It's so fascinating when this stuff just kind of organically comes up, and it really makes you realize, I always talk to people about the history of ideas and just trying to impress on people that things don't just come out of the blue. There's always a connection that has made an idea arrive at a certain time, you know.
Yeah, I like connecting all the dots. I like coincidences. I like things appearing when they should at a certain time, and when a project might appear just as it's the right time for it to be released. The way I work with things like that, because a lot of the artists I work with are oblivious of that network where all the dots join and have no idea where they are in the world, where they could be placed.
Yeah, right.
And I think it's part of my job really to say, well, I think this would go really well here. Yeah, they would benefit and from this kind of exposure rather than that. And all the things in Cold Spring are seemingly quite diverse, but they all come from a pretty similar place, really. It's kind of a weird universe, I think. Everything from problems with Satori to Lars von Trier, the film director, through to Icelandic horror film soundtracks, right through to Genesis P.Orridge and Coil, and right through to obscure Russian synthesizers and stuff and things like that. To me, it all inhabits the same universe.
I really like your idea about sort of containing this kind of universe of references to give a context to the work that comes your way. I'm sure you get sent a lot of demos or a lot of a lot of music with that idea of could you release this? How do you sort of assess whether this is the right one for Cold Spring?
There's context. It can sound like anything, but an example would be Sleep Research Facility in the Strongholm. It's just sold a lot of copies, but it's just a graceful hum with tiny noises of a machine coming to life. But the context of it is the ship Nostromo in Alien waking up when it receives the mayday from the planet below, and each track takes you through the depths of the ship. Without that context, it's just some gentle electronics. But given that context, it's suddenly the start of something awful. So that context is everything.
Could you suggest a few releases as like a primer for somebody who wants to kind of get their head around what the label's about?
We do a double CD compilation every 3 years. The latest one's called Rise.
Any sort of landmark releases that you could put your finger on of saying, right, this marked an evolution of sound or somehow the label's growth?
There's 15 albums with Genesis P.Orridge and Psychic TV and various side projects. So they've always been staple part of the label. Those names have always been there from 86. But we did a 10 CD set of dark British folk.
Oh, yeah.
Which sold really well. And that was a milestone release. But it was over 5 releases, but so it's about 175 bands, I think. I'm glad we got to finish it because I don't want to do it again.
Oh, 3 men came down from Kent to plough for wheat and rye, and they made a vow and a solemn vow, John barley corn should die. Oh, they plowed him in the furrow deep, to the clods lay o'er his head, and these 3 men were rejoicing then, John Barleycorn was dead.
Things come along that you don't expect, like Steve Albini doing an album with him, and it was a reissue of some bits of bobs that work. They would put it all together as a big set. And he was lovely. He's passed away now.
And did he just come to you?
No, it was between me and KK Noel from Zenigiva, and he'd recorded in America, and then Albini went to Japan and recorded with them. And it was all over the place. It was never gathered together into a set. So we did that and emailed him, and he said, "Oh, say hello to Noel for me." And he said, "Yeah, no problem." He said, "I want 5 copies."
That's the deal. Right.
I'd let. So that's all he wanted. He had that mentality that once he's done the job, he thinks it's weird getting paid again. We went with Einheit from Neubauten with Sonic Youth, and Genesis was on that. We just did a double CD of Sea of Wires, which was an old cassette from 1981, UK cassette from Coventry, and we cleaned it up and put it out as a double CD, and Chris from the band couldn't believe that anybody was interested, and couldn't believe that his old hissy tapes from an old test scan 4-track we recorded it on sounded like it was recorded for a CD because we got it mastered so well. They weren't part of the tape trading network, so they didn't get to hear what other people were doing, their contemporaries were up to. So I'm always on the lookout for late 70s, early 80s electronic. If there's any listeners who would like to, between the years of, say, 76 and 82, 83, anywhere around there, would like to send something in for us to consider, it'd be great.
In this episode, you heard the voice of Justin Mitchell. Music was Why You Here by Rabbits Wear Boots on Trio Art. Wanderers Without Destination by the Hybryds from Mythopia. Unclean Psychic TV Live from the cassette INRI. Track 6 from Angels of Light and the Angry Love Orchestra. Extract from Interviews and Readings by William Burroughs, Brion, Gysin and Genesis P.Orridge from the Cold Spring cassette. Report by the Hafler Trio and William Burroughs from the LP And the Wolf Shall Lick the Jewels from Your Belly. Northern Tale by Sandor Kallios from ANS Electronic Music. B-Tech Sleep Research Facility from Nostromo. John Barleycorn by The Horse